estate agents and as loan officers in the business, we have to get comfortable with making calls. So I have Chris Doyle with me here from Liberty Home Mortgage, who has a ton of experience. What did you say we were coming up? #1?
So in 2020 and 2021, I was the #1 inside sales mortgage loan officer.
So what that means, he said he was the #1 sales. That means that he was making a ton of phone calls. And so many people are so nervous about just picking up the phone and calling people. So I wanted to have an expert kind of talk to you guys and maybe get some tips and strategies. So how did you do it? How did you stay consistent? You know, is there a method to this? What can you share with us?
Sure. So #1, sales is just a numbers game. Like we were talking a little bit before this, that you're going to get a lot of rejection and you can't put emotion into it, right? Because you're going to have way more no's than you are going to have yeses, but it's a numbers game. So again, if you have a list of 100 leads and you call every single one of them, at least, you know, I would imagine a couple dozen of them would give you yeses. The majority are going to say no. But the ones that you can get on the phone, once you get them on the phone, how do you keep them engaged, right? Well, love him or hate him, Jordan Belfort actually is, I cater a lot to his sales methodology, right? Every sale is the same, as he says, and you have a straight line method where you go from the first conversation to the last conversation, where you basically try and stay on a straight line, right? And don't let the customer bring you up and down, right? So you have 3 seconds to make a first impression, right? You have to be enthusiastic as hell, meaning you're not like, oh, hey, hi, how are you? But you're engaged in the conversation, right? And then you have to be sharp as a tack and expert, right? You have to be perceived as somebody who is just the #1, no one else can beat you, right? So what Jordan says is, again, impression, expert, and enthusiastic. So I try to maintain that that persona throughout the entire conversation, right? To make sure that I'm getting enough information from the buyer to know that this is a qualified buyer, and then, you know, selling them as to how I can help their problem, right? Because sales is it's not a money thing, right? There's an issue, I have the solution, and I can help you. I'm going to get you from point A to point B in the easiest and shortest amount of time as possible. Right? So when you take emotion out of it, you make a ton of dials. You're disciplined. You're enthusiastic. You're an expert, and you're leaving good impressions. That's what ultimately makes a good phone sale.
So what I usually try to do, I try to get agents to at least carve out a minimum an hour a day for making calls. Because really, that first half of the day, but minimum an hour a day. But it's important that within that hour that they are actually making calls and not going to get coffee, going to get snacks, running to the bathroom, taking other calls on social media. How do you stay focused in, like if you're calling, you're going to dial this next hour, how do you stay focused in?
100%. I think it's coming early first. So if you're dialing from, let's say, 11 to 12, you know, make sure all of your coffee, you have your coffee, you know, you've done your social media, you've checked your social media, you know, you've done other important calls, right? And you're just tunnel vision. As soon as 11 o'clock hits, you know, you're not getting up out of your seat, you're not walking around, you're not talking to people, at least for that hour. But as we like to say, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? So we want to go ahead and hit that hour hard, but then, you know, give yourself a good 45 minutes or, you know, 30 minutes to go ahead and, you know, rejuvenate a little bit, kind of let that hour set in for a little bit for you.
So you place a phone call, it's super rejection, right? You talk to a lady, answer the phone, she's like, don't ever call me again, right? Like, don't you get that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So do you ever call her again?
So you have to find out who your client is, right? Because not everybody is in the market to do business with you, right? It kind of goes back to, hey, sell me this pen. Well, if you're not even in the market to buy a pen, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes explaining why this is the best pen to buy and why you should need it, right? So you have to identify, you know, who is actually wanting to purchase. If you pick up the phone and, hey, no, don't want to purchase a home, never, blah, blah, blah. You know, ask them questions as to why, you know, why is your information here? And if it's an absolute no, you know, then don't, you know, go on to the next one. Again, it's a numbers game. You know, you may have had bad rejection there, but that doesn't mean the next one's going to be bad, right?
Yeah.
Completely uncorrelated.
Okay. So one of the other things that I hear from agents is not knowing what to say when to make that phone call. So typically as agents, we're calling expired listings, for sale by owners. You know, you may have a list that you're dialing off of. And so they don't know what to say when they first make that call. Is there some, I would think that it's kind of the same for you in terms of, even though it may be a lead, they clicked on something, but how many times have you clicked on it and they said, I don't remember putting in my information there?
Yeah.
What do you say when you first call? How do you kind of warm up the conversation?
100%. To preface everything, sales is 80-20, right? It's 80% of listening and 20% of actual talking. A lot of salespeople think that's inverse, but a lot of it is just being able to ask questions and get answers back. So if I'm starting a sale and I have your number, hey, is this Andrea? Yes. Hey, Andrea, Chris Doyle, Liberty Home Mortgage. How are you?
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Andrea, I saw you put some information on Zillow. Are you looking to purchase a home in the next 6 to 12 months?
Maybe.
Okay, perfect. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. Really, this conversation is maybe only 5 or 10 minutes. You know, have you ever purchased a home before?
No, I would be a first-time home buyer.
Perfect. How exciting. And then we kind of go into that. You know, maybe I'll throw in some emotion as to what does your dream house look like.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then just get them talking. The more you can get your prospect to talk and talk about achieving their goals, it is better. It's going to end up helping. It's the likability, right? The more they like you, the more they're going to stay on the phone with you, and the more they're going to be able to really extract what their problem is. You know?
Well, I definitely think you gave some great tips and information to get us started. We have to come back and do a deeper dive into this conversation, because I think it'd be helpful for actually newer loan officers and obviously if I'm here for real estate agents as well. So thank you for taking the time out and sharing those tips with me, and hopefully you guys will check in with us. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM or an email. And if they want to connect with you, is that okay?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you're ever looking to purchase or refinance a home, we're licensed in 45 states in the United States, and I'm sure some of my information will be down.
All right, guys, thank you.